welcome to the best of This Is Wrestling in 2024. I am Tanner Ryle, taking you through all of the best moments from the past year. We start with Lee and Zach revealing the numbers they drew for the Royal Rumble pool.
Look, I was pretty thrilled when you told me the day of that all the spots, Royal Rumble pool, they're filled.
Yes.
We got them. And everyone wants into the pool. Everyone wants their shot. And I was thinking, man, did I take somebody's spot? Who cares? I want to win it myself. But I didn't, Zach.
No.
But the good news is, and I mean this like from the bottom of my heart, that you didn't either.
No, I did not.
Which is, which makes me very happy. I didn't want to win myself. I really didn't. But I also really didn't want you to win. And I didn't want, and I hate to say this, and hopefully they'll respect me for it, but, you know, the champion, Chris Thompson, does a hell of a job. I didn't want him to win. I didn't want Ben Soublier or like some of your little minions that believe everything that Zach McGibbon has to say. But we had a couple of new winners, I believe, and
yes,
I was happy to see them.
Yes, we did. I will give them a shout out here. Ryan Lindsay, somebody we know quite well.
Wow.
Won the Women's
Ryan,
Rumble.
My man, Ryan, got in at what, number 3?
Number 3. So that's why you can never rule out if you're in the first 10. You can't rule it out. And so Ryan Lindsay was the winner of the women's pool, and the other one was Peter Harrison, who won the men's pool. Peter, I've seen at C4 shows a couple of times. He's also covered some MMA events for the Observer. So good stuff. Good on Peter for winning the men's one. Coming at number 15, it was who was the one that won the men's Royal Rumble again there, Lee? I seem to have forgotten.
His name was Dwayne.
Wow.
It was Phil Brooks.
Gotcha.
No, it wasn't him either. Man,
Damian
really...
Priest won the Rumble. Yeah. That was my number. That was my guy. Oh. That was my guy.
Who was your 2 people?
I got Damian Priest for the men's at 26, which I was annoyed because Punk came out literally right after at 27. So I was like, couldn't have bumped up Punk, but we'll talk about Punk here during this show and his performance. But you'll get a kick out of this, Lee. I was number 1 in the Women's Royal Rumble.
You're number 1 in my heart all the time, Zach, so it's not really surprising at all.
Yeah. And the person that came out at number 1, I was thinking, well, last year it was Rhea Ripley that won at number 1, and who knows? Maybe they go back to back. Maybe they change things up. Maybe we get some excitement. My number 1, Lee, was Natalya. I got Natalya as my number 1, which, look,
so
it's an improvement over Tamina Snuka, so I will take that.
Tell me, like, okay, the Royal Rumble women's match is starting.
Yeah.
And there you are. You're like, okay, number 1. I got number 1. Who comes out and Natalya comes out? Just tell me your feeling.
Well, I lost, was the immediate feeling. That was, as soon as I heard the guitar riff, I was like, well, that does it for my chances. And of course, Bayley came out at 3. I'm like, we couldn't switch it around here. Like, we couldn't have done Bayley at 1 and done the back-to-back. But no, Bayley had the Flair spot in 92. And put in quite the performance, allegedly. So it was not a good year for me. Who did you pick in the Rumble? Who are your entrants? I
thought this was like meant to be, like just meant to be coming out, because I got number 16 in the women's, and it was Xia Li.
Oh, and Xia Li.
I'm like, Xia Li, Lee Versage, like, let's go with this one. Like, the names, it was just, I thought it was serendipitous that was going to happen.
Big word, serendipitous.
Oh, yeah. So, look, and people will laugh at this. So, You put up the list as you do,
yeah,
and we saw the numbers and where people were. And I saw this like with the men's people that we know, there was this run of like Chris Thompson, and I shouldn't say like because I don't want to demean anyone, but like our little group that we sort of hang out with a little bit and talk wrestling, and involves Le Champion, Chris Thompson, it involves Ben Soublier, and my guy Matt Robinson from Tall Can Audio. That I want to thank him specifically. He not only was in the pool, but he did a good job in putting out the This Is Wrestling Royal Rumble pool on his Tall Can stuff, and he doesn't have to do that, so it's appreciated from Matt Robinson sort of giving us a little bit of a plug. But we had Chris Thompson 22, Lever Sage 24, Matt Robinson 25, Zach McGibbon 26, and Arjun, who's like Ben's really good buddy, at 27. And I'm like, when I saw this list, I'm like, the winner's coming from here, and I'm going to have to try to explain to people how the pool's not rigged.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to win, or Zach's going to win, or Chris Thompson, the champion's going to win. And then I was really, really, really excited to see R-Truth come out at 24, my guy. So again, my entrants in were Xia Li and R-Truth at 24.
Oh, yes.
So, when you have that feeling like you did a number one, I'm not winning. Because if R-Truth wins, I might only watch WWE from here on in. If they put over R-Truth into the main event of WrestleMania, this will be the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of wrestling.
You know what was there's a part of me that was hoping that your number would lead to Cody Rhodes and my number would lead to CM Punk, and then it would be a real true like battling it out at the top, because then there would have been even more stakes involved. But hey, you know what? I mean, Xia Li, it's perfect. You're named Lee. Her last name's Lee. I mean, that's great coordination. I think that's a branding opportunity there. And then R-Truth. Yeah. I mean, R-Truth. Beloved still somehow in the company for multiple years, and I got a big pop, I will say, R-Truth, in both the men's and the women's rumble, which we'll talk about. But I had Damian Priest at 26. I was like, well, he's not going to win, but I guess it's better than some of the other options of this rumble. And we got Natalia number one. So
55 minutes.
Well, the one thing that is just completely unforgivable, and I do not care which promotion it is, 55 minutes between wrestling matches, Lee. 55, nearly an hour before we got to the next match. Lee, that's unbelievable. No other sport would allow that. Not football, not MMA, not soccer, definitely not soccer. Like none of these sports. 55 minutes between matches, Lee. 55. That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. That segment does not count as action. I will not hear that. If people seriously think that Cody Seth segment doesn't need to be counted because it, advanced something, I guess, like it couldn't have happened on Raw, I don't want to hear it. 55 minutes, Lee. 55. It was closer to an hour than 0 minutes for the next match. Think about that. That's crazy. No other wrestling show would do that. And yet it just.
But you shouldn't do that on SmackDown.
Oh.
People going to buy a ticket, let alone at a pay-per-view.
Oh my God, 55 minutes, 55, and there was like in a 3.5 hour show, main show, 4 matches. There was an hour and a half at minimum, an hour 45 maximum of in-ring wrestling, and the rest was Perth, Australia tourism ads, WWE ads, promo packages, videos, entrances. It's unbelievable. Australia paid them to show up. Think about that. They paid them to show up to this arena. That's unbelievable. I would be putting theft charges out there. That's unbelievable.
Oh, You're having a good show so far,
5
Zach.
a.m. They did this. Imagine the people that woke up at 5. I didn't wake up at 5 a.m. You kidding me? Are
No.
you kidding me? Imagine the people that did wake up at 5 a.m. for this show, just so that they could sit there and watch the 17th ad about how great Perth, West Australia is.
Hey, Gord, we're talking to you.
I'm sorry, Gord, but it has to be said. I love you, Gord. But come on. That's unbelievable. I would much rather a 25 match card on a show, because at least I'm going to get continuous wrestling action and something is going to happen. Not at 55 minutes between a match. That's crazy.
I just want you to keep going. I'm really enjoying this because it's so absurd, and you're doing a good job at letting people, like, people paid like hard-earned money not only to go to the show, but around the world waking up at God knows what time for that. Like, you're right. It's almost unforgivable.
That's
like
insane.
It is. It's almost and they'll just slide right by it like nothing happened.
Reporting only the biggest stories in the Quinte region.
It's AEW Revolution preview time, and no better person to do it with me, Lever Sage. No, I'm Zach McGibbons here too. ZFG, second time this week. Had to actually pick up a sign, I think, in Belleville today or yesterday. Very windy. It was the only place apparently in Ontario and in Canada that was windy. A couple of signs fell down, and Zach, it's nice of you to take some time out of your busy schedule of picking up those signs and covering the story in the news of those signs falling down. Who cares that people lost power here in Ottawa, lost power across the country? Yeah, a couple of signs fell down, and I mean it's really difficult. The letters fall off. You gotta find what words were back on the sign and spell them correctly, which is very difficult for the people of Belleville. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Versage. What you're referring to is an article from my workplace, Quinte News. And Le Champion set it in a very misleading screenshot. He took away the headline of the article and then tried to attribute the article to me, even though it clearly said in the photo one of my colleagues at Quinte News. And it showed a sign being flipped over here in the Quinte region. I believe it was Trenton where the photo was.
Okay.
And,
That's your haven. Right?
That's
and
right.
Just because somebody else might have written the article, like we all understand you're the boss of Belleville. Like you're the king bleep of the Quinte region. You're telling people, look, the sign fell over in Trenton, like near the McDonald's, and how are people going to know that the Happy Meals are like? And you sent somebody there to do it. Like we know you didn't do it yourself. You're too big for that.
That's right. I have to get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
Got to get a handler out there to make sure that the sign is up.
And you better be 100% factual. To say those like things about Le Champion, like he would just do something like that, Photoshop and make something up. And there's a lot of things that you can say, but you can't just say things about people and get away with it, right? Like,
well, I think Bunda has been able to get away with that for a long, long time, and a lot of the folks that continue to accuse me of being a hornswoggle, which I am not, and I will continue to deny those accusations as well.
I got to talk to our good friend Steve Bundy. He asked how Hornswoggle was doing today, so I told him how you were doing, so it was good.
But I'm not Hornswoggle. Like, do you have a direct line to the actual Hornswoggle so you can say, "Hey, Bunda's checking in on you. He's wondering what you're doing."
I do. I call Belleville every week.
I see what you're doing here.
I
am not Hornswoggle.
I talked to you a couple. This is the second time this week I get a chance to grace Hornswoggle with everybody's presence and preview Revolution. Who better to preview Revolution than Hornswoggle?
Was Myung Jae Lee's dad at C4 Wrestling? The spot that everyone's talking about. I swear, since I started going to C4, I was always wondering if this was going to happen. But if you've ever been in the Preston Event Center towards the back, there's this auditorium. It's like a story up where there's some stairs up to there. Usually the wrestlers sit up there and watch throughout the night. It's kind of cool. You can look up and be like, hey, there's Kevin Blackwood checking out this matchup on the undercard. But I always wondered, what would happen if they actually started going up there and fighting. And sure enough, Young Jay Lee went all the way up there and ended up jumping from this balcony onto, I believe it was Josh Bishop. I was at the other side of the Preston, so I didn't see where he landed, but it was insane. One of the coolest spots I've ever seen. And
how far down do you think?
Oh my God, I don't even know. I'm terrible with measurements, but it was a lot higher than any sort of like a ladder spot you would see in a typical wrestling match. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a story up. I'll leave it at that. But.
Yeah. It was quite high. It's if you ever seen, and Lee will appreciate this one, if you ever seen New Jack jump out of off a floor there onto the crowd below, it was a very New Jack style dive into the crowd. He just needed to play Natural Born Killers over the speakers, and you've got yourself a New Jack match. So
that's pretty much,
that's a pretty good comparison. And funny enough, like right after he hit it, this guy comes over and is standing up on the chair behind me, really trying to see, wearing a Young Jay Lee shirt. It was his dad.
Oh, no way. No way.
It was Young Jay Lee's dad, apparently. And
he's wow.
He's just trying to see if he's okay.
Yeah, just pretty much. He was like, I hate when he gets hit hard on the chest and does stuff like this.
Oh my God.
But it's like, yeah, just a proud dad trying to see his son jump off of basically a balcony onto another guy and hope that this other guy catches his, early 20-year-old son.
Oh man.
That's pretty cool though.
It was a sick spot.
Yeah.
That's a cool interaction to have too, to kind of see the dad. And
yeah, for sure. He was a couple spots behind me, so I couldn't quite hear everything he said, but yeah, definitely a proud moment there.
A lot of people sitting behind you, Tanner, at those events. They sit the prime seats for you. So I guess, the athletes' dads, don't get as good a seats as you do.
Yeah. You get VIP seating over there, Tanner.
He should.
Yeah.
He's the uncrowned.
See this is wrestling. Exactly. And I got the media pass. Chasing down
the media
Mark,
pass,
trying to get all the scoops.
You can see it, Zach. The Predictriver versus the Predictanner. Somehow in a main event.
Once in a lifetime.
You got
on a pole.
That I can promise you, it will be once in a lifetime. We will never do that twice. Okay.
Well, I have to finish my story.
Well, yeah.
Maybe we'll just kind of leave a chapter in that story. It maybe doesn't have to be finished, but
I didn't realize that Tanner was near the end of his book.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah. We mentioned the last show, I believe, when Young Jay Lee did the balcony dive, New Jack style into the crowd. We mentioned that Tanner Ryle was in the audience and he had seen Young Jay Lee's dad talking about how he didn't want him jumping off the balcony. And I had been told after that episode that that might not have been Young Jay Lee's dad in the crowd.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know for sure. We cannot confirm nor deny. So
from my point of view, which was third row in the Preston on the opposite side of the ring, so I couldn't really see the dive where it happened, but it happened. We were all kind of going crazy. And I had a friend like right next to me, and this guy comes over in a Young Jay Lee t-shirt, nonetheless. The newest one that he had sitting over at the merch stand.
Yeah.
And said something to my friend that was next to me, who passed it along to me, that apparently they were like, hey, that's my kid or whatever. I'm his dad. I don't know what exactly the words.
Okay.
But I don't like when he does stuff like that and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. But apparently someone claimed to be Young Jay Lee's dad, but might not have been.
This might be my new favorite story arc in This Is Wrestling. Who was the man that Tanner Ryle and his friends spoke to?
I know.
At the C4 show, where the man
they must
claimed
have
to
been
be
scoping me out. They're like, "Where's that This Is Wrestling guy? I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna give him a scoop and try and either take out his credibility,
try and put me over on the show.
Get myself on the show. I'm gonna come on and talk about, oh, I'm so proud of my son, Young Jay Lee. Isn't even his son.
Unbelievable. It's I love stories like this.
I think you said your response to C4 when they reached out and said that was you could even get worked in the crowd.
That's
when
right.
You go to the show.
Yeah, wrestlers can work you, and I guess fans can also work you in terms of who they are. Because man, that That is
Jeez,
hilarious.
I guess next show I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna pretend I'm Junior Benito's brother. We're gonna
there
see how
you
many
go.
people buy it.
No, yeah, absolutely. You got to get a Junior Benito shirt and say, yeah, I'm his brother. And you have to really sell it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be, oh yeah, of course. I'm his older brother, you know? You
Yeah,
gotta
maybe
really-
hot stepper I could pull off. I've got a bit of ginger in my beard.
Oh, there you
kind
go.
of pale.
There you
in
go.
all seriousness. Got a hot stepper shirt, a bucket hat. I'm
Mm,
dancing my way into the C4
Yeah.
arena.
yeah. How are the dance moves for one Tanner Ryle?
Oh, we don't need to talk about that.
It's not gonna work for you, brother.
Nope, not gonna work for me,
Oh,
brother.
Okay. Now that's on my my wish
Not
list.
quite. Not quite as good as your Irish jig.
Okay, well, hold on now. I'm not Hornswoggle. We've established this multiple times.
I've got a bit of a bone to pick regarding Young Jay Lee, and not related to the matchup, but a bit of an important storyline that's been going on this podcast.
Yes.
If you remember 2 months ago, Junior Benito, he jumped off of the overlook at C4, like the balcony where we all sat. You've probably seen the photos on social media if you're listening. And then some guy came over and claimed to be Young Jay Lee's dad and was saying, like, he's just talking to us about his son jumping like 25 feet off of this thing and crashing into a bunch of humans. And I talked about that on the show. And then Mark, the booker of C4, informed Zach via DM that his dad wasn't there. So we kind of thought, and I came on here last month and said it, that I guess when you go to C4, you also get worked by the fans. But we have a new development in that story because I went straight to the horse's mouth, Young Jay Lee, and I said, sir, was your dad at C4 2 months ago? And you know what Young Jay Lee said?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he was. And I went up to Mark and I told him, we shook hands, we're all good. But yeah.
Yeah,
we were all looking forward to that.
And good for Mark to be able to go, well, I was wrong. I thought he wasn't here, but I guess he was. And Mark admitted that he was there. But that's what happens, Mark, with This Is Wrestling. Okay? Doesn't matter, me, Zach, Tanner, Ben, Chris. We know what's going on. Okay? Feelers on the ground, Mark. Okay? We got a very good feel for what's going on. So I'm glad you got to the bottom of that.
The new This Is Wrestling champion reveals his nickname.
Trevor Struthers, our new This Is Wrestling champion, joining us on the day after. Kind of like Cody Rhodes on the Today Show and all the appearances. It's like, that's what Trevor's doing. I'm the champion. I got to make my appearances. Now, one of the questions, Trevor, that was put out there was, okay, if you win, what is your moniker? What is your nickname going to be? And I have no idea. I know Zach knows, but I have no idea. The rest of the audience has no idea. And again, this is how things work around here. Zach pretends to be the leader. And then I just come in and go, no, Zach, that's not happening or whatever. So I need to approve of this moniker. So Trevor, I'm on the edge of my seat. The listeners are on the edge of their seat. What are we to call the new champion?
You know, this might be where the poking fun might start to happen a little bit. I wasn't sure that I was going to win.
No, hold on, Trevor. You're from Napanee, okay? So the only things that ever happened in Napanee are like good fastball and Avril Lavigne. So if you want me to like make Avril Lavigne jokes and 5 songs about how complicated your life is and all this stuff, I can, but I won't because I'm ready for this moniker.
All right. Well, I went with something a bit, I guess, pun related to do with predicting. I went with Predict Trevor. The Predict Trevor.
How do you think of that, Lee?
Oh my God. I think it's perfect because nobody will like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so like you will be consistently made fun of, but when you're the champion, that doesn't really matter. You can whatever that trying to be what honey was, Trevor, you can shout it out to everybody and to the moon until you lose that championship. That's okay. I mean, obviously you got a lot of things right in here. 270 out of 300 is really, really good. And I know that like I didn't even come close to that. I was telling Zach earlier, we're going to discuss it a little further. One of the things that I got wrong, Trevor, and I just didn't get it wrong. I got it wrong like in the first minute. And then I picked the under and it kept going over and over and over and over. I'm like, why did I do this? Somehow I picked under 5.5 super kicks in Jimmy and Jey Uso, and I think there was 978. So there was like 2.5 minutes of straight super kicks. It was just all super kicks. I'm like, I picked under. I'm the host of this show. Oh my god, I was so embarrassed.
If it's any consolation, Lee, I also picked under on the super kicks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a little surprised to hear that.
Yeah, Trevor's like, you guys are really dumb.
Well, I also went under on the super kicks actually as well. So
You did, as I'm looking through.
What?
Yeah.
yes,
So
we all did.
you only lost 30 points, and you lost on the under super kicks.
Yeah.
That is so funny to me.
London Lightning buries Zach McGibbon, but inadvertently also buries Lever Sage.
Look who's joining us. It is the first time for a third meeting with London Lightning. The first time ever that someone has been on the program 3 times as a guest.
Wow.
And I mean, you include the Nick Aldises of the world and PCOs and a lot of great interviews that we've had a chance to conduct, but nobody has made it this far. But always great to welcome London Lightning to the program. London, thank you. How's your long weekend going?
I'm doing good. I've been looking forward to talk to you, Lee, this long weekend. I can't say this quite the same about Zach, but definitely you, Lee. And I guess 3 times makes me a regular now, eh?
So first of all, you are now part of the This Is Wrestling family. And with you and I together as a team, Zach had no chance before you and I were aligned. And now that we're aligned, like, it's just, hey, Zach, sit there, Broadhead Brewery, call the matches. I hope London came over to you and said, stick to the script, pal. Don't get off topic. Call my goddamn match and call it properly and shut up.
Yeah. Zach, you can start packing your bags, man. I'm coming for your job.
Oh, wow. So you're going for the ring now? Now you're going after my commentary gig? What's going on?
Exactly.
I thought I put you over pretty well on the Broadhead shows, too. And this is how it's...
Too much Dallas Cowboys talk, man. Too much Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Lever Sage is also a Dallas Cowboys fan, so you might have to get...
I upset the wrong...
Yeah, okay. So as we sit here and talk to London... London, you're now out of the family. That quick Dallas Cowboys jab.
Bro, this is a television show.
Again, there are certain things, and that's where I give a lot of credit to the WWE, especially over the last 4 or 5 years, where they've done things, but it hasn't embarrassed the product. The Logan Pauls of the world, the Bad Bunnies of the world. They've done some things that have gotten some mainstream notoriety, but they haven't embarrassed the product. Mm-hmm. And this was like the ultimate embarrassment of the product. And they both do it again? Oh my God. Like,
bro, it was on the USA Today front page, bro.
Television show.
This is a television show. I am putting together a television show. And so when I do a television show, I have to book for the ratings. Oh my God, the amount of times that Russo said television and enunciate his words onto the screen over and over. It was on the internet, bro. Oh, it was just so... I hadn't heard Russo talk in a while because I like my sanity. And then I'm sitting there and it's like 40 minutes of him going, bro. He's like, bro, we had an idea and the standards and practices, bro, they had no idea. Bro, this is a television show, okay? This is I am booking for, and if you look at the ratings, they went up slightly, but they went up. Remember when he said that during the show? First of all, he's wrong. I mean, it was just a straight up lie that it went up. And the ones that did go slightly up, you know why it went slightly up? Because they got rid of the third hour of Nitro. And so it's of course it's going to go look a little higher because you don't have a third hour you have to deal with, you know? Oh, it was all the things that he was saying. And just, I forgot how he enunciates words. He always overly enunciates words, and it just drives me insane whenever I hear him talk. Television show, bro. This is a television show. Imagine that for 40 minutes.
I know, but in saying all of this, okay, I think Vince Russo isn't as smart, and I didn't think he was really smart beforehand. But I watched this show, and I'm like, man, this guy really isn't that bright.
No.
He's got a couple of lanes that I think he's smart in, but outside of those lanes, it's not good. But I also came out of this show thinking that there's no way that this was his fault.
I agree.
Zach did not like SummerSlam.
A lot of the worst of WWE, and this is also my thoughts of the show really in general, a lot of the worst of WWE came out here. They can never be subtle. Everything has to be explained to you like you're the dumbest, biggest idiot in the history of the planet. During the match, they tried to do the thing where they were targeting Rhea Ripley's shoulder because that was the injury that took her out a couple of weeks ago, right? So they're working over the shoulder, and they do the thing where it pops out. But they can't just, let it be and let the commentary say, oh, I think it popped out. I think it popped out. They had to have Rhea Ripley go in there and shout, my shoulder, my shoulder, my shoulder popped out, having to tell you what was going on. And then they tried to make this big deal about her, popping her shoulder back in and, putting her shoulder into the ring post. And commentary's acting like they've never seen anything like this before. They've never seen an athlete try and pop their shoulder back in and go out there. They were putting this over as this superhuman freak thing. It's like, has nobody in this company seen a shoulder get popped back in? And then they did the spot again on the announce table. And then, as well, as you mentioned, Dominic Mysterio gets involved. That's another thing in this show. Every match except for one had some form of interference or run-in.
I know.
Oh my lord! They have multiple road agents there. Do they not talk to each other? Come on.
Focus on this match. We'll get to
this
the
match.
overall.
This match. So first of all, they do a chair shot spot, and Dominic blocks it, and the crowd boos. Why? Why did the crowd boo Dom? If Rhea Ripley hit Liv Morgan with the chair, it would have been a disqualification. And yet they booed Dominic Mysterio.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there and say they treat us like we're the dumbest, stupidest people in the world. And then 5 seconds later, you're giving an example of the people being the dumbest, stupidest people in the world.
I didn't want to say it, but you said it. So
if you're wondering why the WWE treats its fans that way, maybe Zach, it's because most of the fans are that way.
Well, they don't help themselves by cultivating it. They just play into it instead of trying to anyways. So they booed Dominic Mysterio, right? And then he interferes again, helps Liv Morgan get the victory, and it makes no sense. Because during the match, Dom pushes Rhea Ripley out of the way to catch Liv Morgan on a dive. And so I saw that during the match. And yet later on, he still helps Liv win anyway. Then they did the big spot at the end, the big angle at the end. It's like, oh my God, Dominic Mysterio is with Liv Morgan and blah, blah, blah. This was the worst way they could have started off this show. It was garbage, just garbage stuff at the start of this show. And the wrestling was so subpar. There was nothing in this show. Lifeless. The crowd wasn't there. They have to bring attention to the shoulder, and nothing with it. It was just the worst way to start off this show. But of course, everybody's going to talk about the angle at the end because they just book for TikToks and Instagram reels. That's it. That's all they book for. They book for moments. They don't book for anything in between. They just want the angles and the moments to showcase on the show. How's that for an opening match review? And we're not done. There's more on this show that I am going to just lambast on, because the amount of people that have gone Lambaste. My apologies. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. It's hot here. I watched this show. The amount of people that are going to go out there and tell you this was a good show or a great show, I don't know what I want their tape of the show that they watched. I would really love that show, because this show was easily beat the Australia show for me for worst show. Easily. This was so overbooked. Nonsense. Nonsense.
Stop it. And then look, I appreciate, and look, there's nobody more that wants to hear you fired up and giving like this insane, I can't keep control of my temper take, because I need that Zach McGibbon more in my life. And the fans of This Is Wrestling need that more in their lives. But Zach, I'm going to put you in front of a television and make you. Going to make you watch the Australia show again, and you're not going to say the same thing as what you just said. You're just not. 55 minutes of non-wrestling, Nia Jax in the main event. Like, come on. Like, I know this is recency bias, and I know that you're fired up. So let's just get. Look, I thought this match was not a good opener, as you said. The wrestling was subpar. As a guy, I will stick up for this, because they do treat their fans like they're dumb and stupid, because most of them, as you pointed out, Zach,
don't throw me under the bus like that.
You pointed it out that they're dumb and stupid because they booed a point where they should have been like cheering. Yeah, good move.
Yes.
Because we don't want Rhea disqualified. So good move. But instead they booed because they're dumb and stupid. But that's what you said.
I didn't say that. I just said that spot was dumb and stupid. Them booing it was dumb and stupid. I didn't say anything like that. Hold on now.
You made the example of they treat them that way, and then you provided an example of them being that way just seconds later. So that's what you did.
Lee and Zach are accused of being on the AEW payroll.
Zach friggin' McGibbon, I think he's still okay after people were taking shots at him after the last episode. I just wondered if his heart was okay, if he's back to a normal pace of life. Zach McGibbon, you're okay?
I'm doing good, Lee. I am calmed down. I am relaxed. Things are good. We are now a week out. As you mentioned, I did get some responses back to that episode. Some positive, some not as positive in terms of my review of the show. Some saying I was too harsh. Some saying that I did get one person that said that they still enjoyed the show, but they totally understood the points that we made and thought it was very entertaining, and he would consider himself more of a WWE fan, which I was like, all right, perfect. That's cool. Like, you don't have to agree with me, but at least you understand where I'm coming from. And then I had one person straight up accuse me of being on the AEW payroll. So that's how you and I actually, both you and I were on the AEW payroll.
Hold on. I gave it a solid 5.5 out of 10.
I know. You gave it a passing grade.
A passing grade.
Yes.
Okay.
But we're getting personal checks from Tony Khan now, even though I don't think we mentioned AEW one time during the review.
That's very hurtful.
Yeah.
To think that I'm on the AEW payroll.
Yeah, I think our AEW super fan that listens into the show, Ben Sublier, would very much disagree that we are on the AEW payroll, because we've also been critical.
But I feel like we're Dave Meltzer now, like defending our AEW payroll shtick. Like, isn't that his shtick?
That is his shtick. That is what that side, that fan base likes to put on Meltzer, that he's on the AEW payroll, and that he is doing PR work for them, even though, as we all know, that's ridiculous. It's just an opinion of his. And I'll tell you whose PR is going out there and making sure that they look good and sending out stuff to some of the other wrestling journalists out there. And it's not AEW. That's all I will say on that. But nonetheless, quite a bit of feedback. People did enjoy me losing my mind. That always seems to be a common thing of me losing my mind. Really entertains people. In fact, I did tune in. I listened to your episode with Matt Robinson there of Tall Can Audio.
Yeah.
That little bonus piece, and you hyping up the SummerSlam card. And I heard Matt say that he enjoyed CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and also enjoyed Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And I had enough. I said, no way. There's no possible way that he did. So I'm here to announce at this point, at today, that I will be on Tall Can Audio's podcast.
What?
Later this week. Yes, I will be.
What? This is a bombshell. That's my show.
I'm coming into your territory, Lee, and I'm going on to Tall Can Audio. We are recording an episode later this week.
Wow.
Yes. So, in fact, I'm going to be there in person too. I will be confronting Matt face to face.
That is like me walking into Belleville and interviewing the same 2 or 3 people that you interview all the time for your news stuff.
Whoa! Hey, now wait a minute.
Like I didn't say your territory like that. 2 or 3 people that you talk to for every news item ever in Bell Vegas.
This is Scott Hall showing up
moly.
on Nitro right now. That's what's going on. So yes, I am going to be on Tall Can Audio, so I'm really looking forward to it.
This is I knew you had a couple of bombshells, but this one, oh my God. More importantly, I thought I was pretty good. I stopped him, and it's his show. I'm in his territory. It's his show.
Yeah.
And there I am stopping him going, wait a minute. You could not have enjoyed that. Like I was there to protect the This Is Wrestling Zach McGibbon brand. And now look what you've done. Look what you've done.
No, I do have to admit, I was sitting there, and it's the rare occasion where I'm hooting and hollering saying, yes, Lee, take it to him. Yes. It was not a good show. Do it. I was on your side. But yes, they will be on Tall Can Audio.
You couldn't take it anymore and said, I got to reach out to this guy. All right. Well, we'll see when you get there.
Yeah.
How many stones you have.
This Is Wrestling invades C4 Wrestling.
Now, one other guy, Tanner, that dressed up, and we'll talk about fighting back here because we'll get our good friend Ben Soulier was also at the C4 show Annihilation with us and helped organize and sat in the balcony. And also, I would say, and I've listened, I'm trying not to be biased here, had the second best costume. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm good, gents. How are you?
Doing good. Listen, with that group, Ben, trust me when I say second is like first in most other competitions. Okay.
Looking back at the pictures, I'm pretty happy with how that costume turned out. I think yours was more shocking because I didn't see that transformation coming when you said you were dressing up. But looking at some of the photos from the event, I'm like, man, that's from a distance, that's totally Mankind. Like, it looks great. So you know what? If I have to be second to the Painmaker, I'm okay with it.
It's a tie for first. And I still don't buy McGibbon's story that he ordered the costume, went to pick it up, and it just happened not to be there.
Yeah, I'm not buying that either. I think he had a change of heart when he realized how green the costume was with his red hair, and it would have really exposed his gimmick, brother. This whole not being Hornswoggle to show up in his actual Hornswoggle costume, I don't know. I feel like he got a little bit of cold feet.
Couldn't agree more. We had an absolute blast sitting up in the balcony, the VIP section. I can't believe I haven't told this story already. We were up in the balcony getting ready for the matches. We're up there. We're prime. We're ready to go. And this woman sitting at the front desk looks up to Zach and he's like, come here. Zach goes down. You're not allowed up there. That's a private party. You are not allowed up there. And she is giving it to him. And to try to have him explain that he's actually a part of this group, this cool group that's sitting upstairs in the VIP section, that he's a VIP too, hilarious. Almost got kicked out of his own group because he didn't look important enough to be with the rest of us.
That's what he gets for not wearing the Hornswoggle costume.
I thought it was incredible. What a moment.
Well, if he wore the costume, he would have had to watch from under the ring the entire night. So I guess it worked out well for him in that regard, you know.
It did.
Zach explains why he didn't have his Hornswoggle costume.
Like, look, I know like there might have been a couple of attacks and yeah, just a couple. but let's call a spade right now.
Sure.
I want you to tell the truth before we get started. We all went to C4 and then you went on vacation. Zach, truth serum time.
Yes.
Did you really order the costume and it wasn't there and went to pick it up and they said it wasn't there, or did you just not do it? Because you were at C4.
Yep.
Son's costume, and I told you one of my favorite parts. I mean, great night. The first Twiggy didn't win, but other than that, great night. One of my favorite parts was the woman calling you down. Hey, look, that's private party. You are not supposed to be up there, Zach McGibbon.
Not to be confused with the tag team private party.
No.
Yeah. Oh my God, is that private party? Not that one. But truth, I stand by it. I have the email to confirm it. Yes, I was going to wear a Hornswoggle costume, a leprechaun costume, whatever you want to call it. I did have it purchased. Money was taken out of my account, and I was about to head down to Ottawa, pick up this costume over at Party City here in Belleville. I went up to the counter at the Party City desk, and I said, look, I need to go to this C4 wrestling show, and I need to pick up this leprechaun costume early. Can you rush this a little bit? And as soon as I said that out of my mouth, I said, what have I done with my life to get to this point?
Right. Questioned every decision. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so they said, sure, well, we're going to check in the back here and look for this costume, because as it said on the website that the leprechaun costume was in store, and in fact I had gotten the last available costume. And so I waited a little bit. I was standing around, I was looking at all of the different items being sold at Party City, and then the lady came back from the back and told me that unfortunately there was I guess you could say they counted it wrong, and in fact there were no leprechaun costumes available of any sort. And so I was SOL and decided, well, I gotta get to Ottawa here soon. I guess I will just go costumeless. Hopefully it's not too obvious that I don't have a costume. And lo and behold, when I arrived at C4 and I saw you walking through those doors in the Painmaker attire from Chris Jericho, I knew that I might stick out like a sore thumb on that balcony, where I'm right beside Mankind and IRS and Chris Jericho, and here I am in my t-shirt and pants, green pants, just looking along, hoping that Twiggy wasn't going to win the C4 championship.
Well, you got that. So Twiggy didn't win.
That's right.
It should be obvious that Jack Perry will be TNT champion, right?
I see two guys. Well, I'll tell you, I have a very clear-cut winner, but I see somebody else in there that I think it's possible for him to win, and I see four others that there's almost no chance for them to win. But what do you think of the six people involved in this match and what you're going to see?
Well, it's a ladder match on a pay-per-view, as we've seen those a couple of times this year. So, again, we're really not breaking the space-time continuum with this booking. I think the one person that you're probably thinking of, that I am also thinking of, is going to win is probably Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW TNT Championship.
100% no.
No. Oh, okay. I was looking at Takeshita or Lio Rush as the favorites to win. I know people will say Jack Perry.
But what? This is like, I'm shocked. So I was going to give Takeshita as the other guy that's got a possibility of winning. But this is Jack Perry and everybody else.
Yeah.
If you don't see that, Zach, I'm a little worried about your your wrestling analysis. I get it. You're going on vacation. Like, you're right at the cusp here. It's like you got to work tomorrow. You've been up in mornings, but then you got it's like mail it in Fridays, and then Zach's going on vacation for 10 days, right?
Just get this episode out, cash in, brother, and cash out. Hit the pay window, as Dusty Rhodes would say.
So you don't think Jack Perry is the clear-cut favorite here?
I don't think he's a clear-cut favorite. I think he is certainly a favorite. I there's a part of me that, and I've said it on shows past with Takeshita, where it's like either Bleeper get off the pot when it comes to Konosuke Takeshita. Like, if you really are committed to pushing him, this would be a spot for him, right? To give the TNT championship to him, and run with it. I think Leo Rush has a bit of a chance. It just depends on if he really is under contract with AEW, like it's being speculated or not, because they have been giving him a slight little push on TV, or at least been getting himself a showcase. Jack Perry is obviously, he's in the top group with Okada, the Bucks. It would make sense for him to win the TNT championship here, but I don't know. It just feels a little too telegraphed for me. I feel like there's going to be something here where Perry doesn't get the championship, and that's going to lead to something with the Bucks and Okada, and Jack Perry like not getting along. Not getting along in the sense of like you'll notice some simmering tension between them, because Okada has the gold, the Bucks will have the gold, but Jack Perry doesn't have the gold. I don't know. It just seems way too telegraphed for me. This could also just be my brain is fried and I'm not thinking straight, and
I'm going to correct
think
you.
that
Your brain is fried. And
okay.
You're not thinking straight.
Okay.
Because you keep saying, and you're not wrong about Takeshita, if this company was committed to pushing him, then this is what you do. But you start the sentence with if.
Yeah.
This company is committed to pushing Jack Perry. And you don't know. We think they should be committed to pushing Takeshita. I think so. You think so. A lot of us think so. But it's an if. It's a is with Jack Perry. They are committed to pushing him. And you can't have him lose this match and walk back and have tension with the other guys. He's got to be the front and center guy. So that, like, think about the things that you could do here the second you put the title on. You have rivalries with anyone that the Elite are in a feud with. You have, of course, his former tag team partner who's over in the other group that you could do something with. And you have the guy that they're committed to pushing the most. Let's remember that Jack Perry was the one that came in to the group to help the Elite gain the gold that they got, correct?
Yes.
So you're telling me that he's going to come in and help them get gold, and your storyline is that somehow he's not going to win, and then there's going to be tension between them instead of him winning and the Elite having all of the gold? I just don't think, if Jack Perry doesn't win this, I hardly care about his character, and everyone says he's so improved on his promos and all of that stuff. And while I agree, he has improved his promos, you always say on this program, okay, if you have the worst production crew in the world, and then suddenly you're doing wide base long shots and you're not doing 14 million camera cuts.
Yes.
You're winning, awards because you're the best crew in the world ever.
Yes.
No, you've just stopped doing ridiculously stupid things.
Right.
Well, Jack Perry was just so bad when a microphone was put in his face that because he's gotten better, yes, let's give him credit. He's improved.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Perry is not a top 5 or top 10 microphone talent in that company, despite what people, even those that are close to us that we hear from all the time, tell me how great he's been in the last 2 months on the microphone. I'm like, no, he hasn't.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
He's been
Don't get me wrong.
average.
Yes.
He's been average.
He's been fine. He's been passable when it comes to promos. Like,
but he wasn't passable before,
Right.
and now he's passable. And you think that he's freaking MJF or CM Punk? Well, he's not. Like, he's not close.
yeah.
So my roundabout, long-winded thing here is that if he doesn't win, you know who I'm not going to care about one bit? Jack Perry.
Mm.
Okada's got gold. I don't think that championship means a whole lot, but he's got gold around his waist, and he's the funny guy. And then of course, the Elite Young Bucks have gold around their waist. And I just don't think you can have... This is how these big groups run, right? When you're Evolution, you have all the gold. And you don't leave anybody out. And if you're ever going to leave somebody out in a group that's got a whole bunch of gold, leave the best guy of the group out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy who can still carry himself or herself that doesn't need one. I would have said that about Adam Cole like a year ago or 2 years ago, where it's like, yeah, put Bennett and Taven and Roderick Strong and give them all the gold, and then have Cole there. He could probably carry himself on his own without the gold. Have the strongest communicator and the leader of the group not have the gold. Don't have the weakest person who I'm begging to try to care for as the only person who doesn't have gold in your group. Jack Perry is winning Sunday night, Zach. I think your brain's a little fried on the Leo Rush stuff. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not saying Leo Rush is winning. I just think
Takeshita's
there's a slight chance. Yeah.
Takeshita's got a chance, and it would actually, to me, be the right move to put the belt on Takeshita.
Yeah.
Do something with him finally. If they do, I will stand up and go, I was wrong, and I'll be cheering my ass off for Takeshita because he won.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's happening.
Lee is excited for AEW Freaky Fest.
I didn't want to get too much into the actual wrestling talk, which we will do. We will do a review of Crown Jewel coming up. You can enjoy episode number 5, Family Business, of the McMahon Netflix documentary, also coming out this week. And when I talk to you next, we'll have Freaky Fest, the AEW Dynamite. We'll have Crown Jewel. We'll have all kinds of things to talk about when we get back into the wrestling scene.
I don't think it's called Freaky Fest.
What's it called? Isn't it called something like that? Freak Fest or
something? I don't think it's Freaky Fest though. That popped me. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
that might be a totally different kind of show on Wednesday night if it's called Freaky Fest.
All right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm
You're gonna make me look it up before we get
Fright
out.
Night.
Okay?
Fright Night is what it's called. Fright Night.
Freaky Fest, Fright Night. Zach, it's the same thing.
Oh
okay?
God.
Happy Halloween for those in Belleville. You'll see Hornswoggle again. He'll go out as himself coming out on Thursday night.
Zach claims to have met Hornswoggle.
And we welcome you to another edition of This Is Wrestling. It is Lee Sage along with Zach Swoggle. Did I say that right? Zach Swoggle?
I believe the name is Zach McGibbon. I think you have me confused with somebody else once again. Another wrestler who I will not name.
Zach Swoggle.
No. I don't think that'll work for me, brother.
Horns McGibbon.
You know, Zach Swoggle was better if I had to choose between the two.
Yeah, I'm going to choose Zach Swoggle as well.
Yeah.
Zach friggin' McGibbon here as Hornswoggle was in town. Was Zach in town?
I was. And Hornswoggle was in town too.
Well, so you were just in town.
No. Two separate people. I thought that we had gotten it cleared over the weekend. I thought I had gotten myself vindicated. But apparently it's actually added more questions to people's minds. We'll talk about it here. So I was at Mystery Wrestling over the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Mystery Wrestling in Gatineau, Quebec. And this is my second time at Mystery. And one Hornswoggle himself was booked for that show. And I got to give a shout out to Pat over at Mystery Wrestling, one of the co-promoters, co-owners of Mystery Wrestling with Uno, Evil Uno. He extended the invitation and said, hey, if you want to head backstage, you want to get that photo with Hornswoggle, I'll allow you to do that. So I appreciated Pat being able to open up the door there and let me in. And lo and behold, I was able to get a photo with the man himself, Hornswoggle. So it is finally done. I am vindicated. No longer will the rumors spread about me being Hornswoggle. Don't listen to the comments down the below that are talking about AI or Photoshop or a mirror. None of that. I am not Hornswoggle. The photo proves it. You can see it at our This Is Wrestling social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The photo is real. I took it backstage, and I feel vindicatedly. I feel very, very vindicated.
What did you say into the mirror at Mystery Wrestling?
I did not say anything into the mirror at Mystery Wrestling. I had a short conversation with Hornswoggle. He was not aware of the bit. But the wrestlers in the locker room sure were. When they were around, they were looking at me. It's like, oh my God, I'm seeing double here. I'm seeing double. So there's that. You know, it's funny though. So there was quite a few wrestlers backstage. Imagine my surprise, you know, walking in and seeing Jay Lethal sitting at the table, signing a bunch of stuff for Mystery Wrestling. And I saw Stokely Hathaway as well. I actually ended up having a pretty lengthy conversation with Stokely. And as he was just kind of getting himself set on commentary.
Did you kiss his ass the entire time or just most of the time?
No. I was just, he was just asking me about the promotion, and we were talking about, you know, going through customs and the travel that comes with that. And he asked me, you know, what do I do? Was I a worker? And I said, look, I'm just going to be real with you here, Stokely. I am here for a bit. He's like, oh, okay. And I said, you see Hornswoggle over there in the corner, who's just kind of getting himself set up for the show? He's like, yeah. So the people around here think I'm him. And he just like burst out into laughter. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, people think I'm him. Can you believe that? He thought it was the funniest thing that I was Hornswoggle. And so I said, so that's really why I'm here, is just for the bit. I'm here to, you know, set some records straight and prove to people that, yes, I am indeed not Hornswoggle. And so I'm glad that the photo is out there now. I'm vindicated. Had a good chat with Stokely Hathaway. I ended up being a bell ringer for the show too, by the way, for Mystery Wrestling. So if you were watching the stream live on Twitch, that was me ringing the bell after the first match, because they were tied up with people in production trying to. One was dedicated to the stream, one was dedicated to the announcing, one was dedicated to the music, but the bell was wide open. It's like, hey, give me the hammer. I will ring that bell for you, and I will have a good form and the bell ringing as well. So if you were watching Mystery and you're like, wow, that guy that's ringing the bell really knows how to ring a bell. That was me.
I've never thought that for one ring beller in the world ever, let alone you.
That's right. Well, those minds were changed on that day. But no, I want to thank Mystery Wrestling for bringing me out and allowing me to go backstage and talk with the folks there. It was really cool to talk with some of the wrestlers. A shout out to Pat for allowing me in and allowing me to watch the show as well. And I figured, why not? I'll help back and ring the bell, and was able to watch Mystery Wrestling. A bunch of people tuning in on Twitch, about 200, 300 people on Centre Idolo, I think is the name of the building in Gatineau.
There were two of them.
As the match is going on, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the almost cash in.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get me started on the cash in. Oh my God. What are we doing here? Like, it was bad enough it was one of the champions, right?
Yeah.
She had two of them lying down, staring at them with the briefcase. And was like, oh, I don't know. I'm so, oh, I don't, what are we doing here? Just do it. This is by far the worst storyline in WWE. I hate it whenever they do it. It just makes the titles meaningless. Meaningless. It's, again, bad enough it's one of them. With somebody she befriended like for 2 minutes and was like, all right, I guess I will not cash in my championship opportunity on you because, you know, we had a good conversation backstage and so I am not going to cash in on you. But it's both of them. Both of them, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having struggles, internal struggles, like, oh God, I don't know if I should do this. And then Raquel's yelling at her, like, what are you doing? She's done nothing. What do you mean what she's doing? She's just staring at them. Oh, I hate this story so much. Before we head off, I want to make one quick point because I already hear people yelling at me about this one point. So people will yell at me and say, but Zach, Liv Morgan and Tiffany Stratton are tag team partners in this women's War Games tag team match. Okay? Let me respond by this. Liv Morgan is the team captain and can choose who is on her team. Lee, I don't know about you, but I am not going to pick the person that could take the title off of me at any moment. Okay? I'm not picking that person.
It's not like they're best friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's like every woman for herself in this match. Okay? So I don't want to hear that argument either. Both the champions were down on the mat and she had an opportunity to win the title. A title. She had two to choose from this time. And she still had the hesitation. So I just want to make that point as well because I know I'm going to get yelled at for that. So
Liv Morgan's 5th title defense as champion in 203 days.
I can't believe that I didn't text you the picture that I took while I was watching this. But I'll text it to you now, Zach.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll do this live. Okay. So, folks, he doesn't know what I'm texting him. And I'm just going to text you a picture. And then when you get this message, I want you to open it up. I want you to read it. And I want you to tell me what you think of it.
All right.
Okay.
So I just got the picture.
Okay.
I have opened it now. I will read to you what is on this picture.
Okay.
Liv Morgan, 203 days as Women's World Champion. 3rd longest reign in history. 5th title defense as champion. Inaugural Women's Crown Jewel Champion. And that is a little graphic in the bottom left corner of the screen.
Okay. So I actually liked a lot of what they did. And I'm going to say this before I rip them apart. I liked a lot of what they did telling people who don't know who these people are and a little bit of their background story. I thought they did a really good job with this over the course of the night because they didn't embarrass themselves to the hardcore wrestling fan. I didn't think it was over the top as a hardcore wrestling fan that knows everything that they're putting up. Well, actually, I didn't know this information. So it didn't embarrass me as like a diehard wrestling fan. But for a newbie coming on the scene, I think it was valuable information. And I think they do this all the time, right? It's like introducing the starting lineups at NFL games. Do I know that Cooper Rush is the backup quarterback? And is he going to introduce himself from whatever godforsaken school he came from? Or when people get cute and do their high school or their elementary school? Like this happens in sports all the time. Introducing the people before you sit down and watch, right?
Yep.
So I thought they did a really good job. Except for this one. Zach, 203 days as Women's World Champions, the 3rd longest reign in history.
Correct.
Right underneath that, what does it say?
5th title defense as champion.
Are you bleeping kidding me with that? Are you kidding me? Like, if I'm Liv Morgan, I'm watching that back going, that is the most embarrassing thing I have ever seen. 203 days as women's world champion, which is the third longest reign in history of the company. It's your 5th title defense.
That's
What?
good. That's funny.
Oh my God. I'm watching it going, you can't put that up. There were people in the 80s that had 5 title defenses in 7 days. But now you're telling me she's the 3rd longest reigning champion in history and she's defended the title 4 times? 4 in 203 days, Zach.
Oh, man. That's a title defense every 50 days.
I wanted to get to 55 just so you could yell about it. Once every 2 months. Liv Morgan is wrestling who? Who?
Probably Rhea Ripley for the 3rd time.
Yeah, and losing.
And losing.
On DQ or count out or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Zach. I don't know. Like this is something, and I know I shouldn't be losing my mind over, but you just can't put this up as a wrestling company.
No.
Because you're embarrassing yourself. When you're lauding the fact that this woman is the 3rd longest reigning champion in history, and it's, oh my God, we count days. Roman Reigns counted 203 days. She's defended the title 4 goddamn times. Oh my God. I was just really embarrassed, Zach. Really, really embarrassed.
Oh, that is I was initially looking at it as like, man, it's been this long that Liv Morgan has held a belt.
Yeah, I know. That's your initial reaction for sure.
Oh, but and then the 5th title defense is just as you were explaining it. I was like, oh God. Looking it over again, I was like, man, she's only had 5 of them. 5 of them.
This is her 5th defense.
The 5th one.
So she's only had 4.
She's going into her 5th one.
That's right.
Oh, that is awesome. I mean, that is just fantastic. I mean, what else can you say? I mean,
these are the type though of errors when you're presenting a Saturday night's main event, you cannot do. This is just unforgivable to me because you're literally embarrassing your own champion as much as you possibly can.
Did you hear on the broadcast? I might have misheard it, but I want to confirm if you heard it as well. Did they say that Liv Morgan was a contender for the Wrestler of the Year in WWE because of the years that she had?
Yep.
God help me. Liv Morgan, Wrestler of the Year?
Yeah. So not only is Liv Morgan a very average wrestler to begin with, now she's wrestling. And you know what, Zach? I'm going to give you a little homework because I feel like when you're going to put this graphic up and you're going to put it up on social media and you're going to put me yelling about this up on your clips and your 1.5 little segments that you have.
Yeah.
Make sure that when you put this up and me yelling about it and the graphic beside it, please let us know what the other 4 title defenses are and how she did.
Okay. I will look up Cage Match and make sure to get that information for you. I'm sure it's like 3 of those. I'm fairly confident Rhea Ripley occupies like 3 of them.
And that is it for the best of 2024. Thank you all for tuning in the past year, and we look forward to bringing you even more in 2025.